Well, it's a pleasure to finally meet you. Out of all the directors that I've seen movies of, I really would have suspected you the least to finally meet for some reason. And guess what? We're talking about a movie where there's something paranormal happening. Is that your normal? Paranormal is Shyamalan's normal?
I don't know why I write about these other things. Probably there's just a way to talk about faith that's other than religion, because I'm not a big religion guy, but I really do think about these things. So replace them with aliens or comic books or ghosts, and so we can talk about how we feel about faith.
And with this movie, I mean, we're talking about your movie, but is it really your movie? Because apparently it's just these two kids who are shooting a documentary about meeting their grandparents. So yes. What is it that you've been doing? Because they've been doing the work themselves, didn't they?
well, I'm glad you feel that way. That's good. It's a movie about these two kids making a documentary about visiting their grandparents and trying to make a movie that will kind of unite this fractured family. And the main character, the girl, kind of represents me in some ways, the kind of my love of cinema, and her brother too, actually, who's mischievous.
So you're following your rules of kind of like telling stories about yourself,
yeah,
somehow. That's
for sure. I mean, ultimately they're all about families. I was just thinking about this the other day that if I had a very strong nuclear family growing up. And then I got married very young, and then I have a very strong nuclear family now, my own family. And so if for 40 years I'd been a bachelor, probably, then signs would have been like aliens attacking while I was on a bad date or something like that. It would have been a very different kind of dynamic.
Okay. Here's a picture of a man that I met like a couple of months ago. I took a picture of him, and I just want to know if he looks familiar to you.
That's Jason. Wow, those are great pictures of Jason.
Thank you. Thank you. What is it that you guys have in common? Because I know he's kind of the specialist of being very efficient, of working with a low budget, yeah, and actually reaching a huge crowd. How come that you guys know each other?
Well, Jason actually was really sweet. He reached out many times over the years to make a film together. And he came over to my house probably like 5-6 years ago and pitched me this whole idea of making smaller movies and what the benefits were. And for him, the benefits were kind of originality, control, and because it was done at a lower level, the studios would be more willing to take risks because there's a higher chance of making money on something unusual. And I listened to him, and then quietly went out and made my own movie. And so I went and I funded the visit and shot it, and then I called Jason. I said, Jason, I just shot a movie. He had no idea, and I didn't tell anybody I did it. And then I said, can you come and watch it? So he watched a rough cut of the movie and loved it, and I was so happy he did because his opinion means a lot to me. And we then spent the rest of the year finishing the movie, and then we sold it to Universal, and just a great collaboration.
Well, then tell us, what's the benefit of working? I mean, I understand with this budget, I think the official number was like $5 million. That's what I read on IMDb. Mm-hmm. So it means you've been cutting on catering, or what is it? Because it doesn't really look like a cheap movie. As most of the Blumhouse productions, they don't really look like cheap. So where is it that you do the cuts?
There's a lot of money that doesn't go on the screen. It just doesn't go on the screen. The obvious one would be trailers, right? So there was no trailers. So I was, hung out on the set and ate my sandwich. There was nowhere to go, you just sit there. Whereas normally, everyone has their trailers, everyone has their places.
That's what it is, just trailers?
No, it's multiply everything by, for example, I wouldn't be able to hire, certain actors because I can't afford them. I have to basically go with mainly unknown actors, right? So that already is a giant decision.
So was that also one of the reasons? Because I would like to know, are you kind of approached quite often by actors? Because if I take this movie also about your personal life, yeah, and these kids always encountering well, actually I used to be a great actor, and immediately playing, and also that little hint on reality TV. So are you approached by actors and a fan of reality TV, or is quite the opposite?
I can't say I'm a fan of reality TV. I don't want to disparage anybody, but it's just it's not my cup of tea, but I can see why it's so, captivating for people. But I was poking fun of it in the movie for sure.
So you've been working with Blumhouse.
Yeah.
This is it actually, because I said like it's paranormal, but isn't it then, if it's a Blumhouse production, a horror movie? Is that to be put in that genre, or what kind of movie is it in the first place?
You know,
there's no blood like for the first.
No,
part.
yeah, there's no. It's more of a psychological thriller. It's very scary, definitely. It's very scary, but it's a psychological thriller. I think all my thrillers are that rather than any horror. People try to, if it's a little bit scary, they kind of throw it in the horror. Now this is the scariest one I've done, so. You know, I would like to believe I do something just slightly different. That's to the right of like that genre alone.
And you see, that's exactly the thing. Is I was like, but there's not really so much happening. But I don't understand how he made it that I still am into and still watch it. Because usually it's like, you know, I had it, I'm done. So
yeah.
What's the secret of your craft in order just to keep up that tension, which is not there, but it is there apparently.
Subtlety, you know. I'm very much a minimalist in terms of how I think about making movies. So in this film, for example, there's no score in the movie. So you're not hearing any kind of scary music or anything like that.
True, you know, I didn't even realize that. Yeah, right.
So it's sound effects and, you know, atmosphere, people's breathing, how you block a scene, meaning how you position the actors and the lighting, you know, all the subtle things, using your craft rather than like heavy flavors, very subtly doing stuff.
And in order just to make it look like, amateur, and finally, but was it difficult for you just to tone it down because it's supposed to look very amateurish? Is that you just had to put all your skills that you learned in film school to the side in order just to make it look the way it is? I mean, it's still high definition, but... Yeah,
you know, I kind of had to find a right balance between the beauty that the girl sees, you know, and her abilities to document it, and what I want the movie to feel like. You know, I wanted it to be beautiful. I wanted it to feel like a documentary, like a beautiful documentary she made about her family that goes wrong.
All right, then thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
All the success, and hopefully see you again. And please tell Jason hello from the team from Berlin.
I definitely
We'd love to have him back as well.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Take care.
Das ist Maria Bella Jameson, meine Oma. Und das hier, das ist mein Opa. Stein, Papier, Schere, los! Wir sind eine Woche zu Besuch hier.
Ich vermisse euch, ihr Süßen. Es ist echt lustig hier.
Ich wollte schon so lange mal richtig Zeit mit dir verbringen, Oma.
So glücklich habe ich eure Großmutter seit Jahren nicht erlebt. Hier ist um 9:30 Schlafenszeit. Danach solltet ihr euer Zimmer nicht mehr verlassen.
Gute Nacht.
Gute Nacht.
Was ist das?
Oma?
Was zur Hölle war das denn?
Ich glaube, Oma geht's nicht gut.
Deiner Großmutter geht es bestens.
Oma und Opa benehmen sich irgendwie merkwürdig.
Ich wusste, dass dieser Anruf kommen würde. Sie sind einfach etwas sonderbar.
Hey, warum starrt Oma in den Brunnen? Hi, Opa! Opa!
Mom, irgendwas stimmt nicht mit Oma und Opa.
Sie sind eben alt.
Ich reinige es nur.
Was ist in dem Schuppen?
Oma? Bist du hier unten?
Würdest du bitte in den Ofen hineinklettern und ihn reinigen?